Welcome to Lightning Friday. I am one of your hosts, Chaz, from the Lightning Junkies podcast. Our other two hosts today is Evan Kaludis and Justifer. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Chaz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
Not too bad, staying busy. I was a little sad we missed a couple of weeks. I know we've all been busy, sort of all doing our own thing, but I'm just really excited to be back at it this week with some great guys over from Voltage. Excited to talk to them about their new product.
How you doing today, Justifer?
Doing great, Jazz. Thanks for hosting and for the awesome tunes to get us started. Great to be back. Yeah, just got back from Istanbul, and this yeah, it's good to be back and into Lightning. And super excited to hear what's going on with Voltage. Big release, big news coming out of them. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the other two co-hosts here have mentioned, our big event today is basically having a live podcast session with the Voltage team and kind of just dig into the Voltage product a bit, but also dig into some concepts they seem to be kind of on the forefront of, dig into some Lightning Network topics in general towards the end. And we're going to be open to audience questions all throughout. I think I'm thinking about my day job too much right now. But we're going to be open to audience questions, and this is both on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube. We have a YouTube live stream going on right now, so anyone listening on that side can definitely ask questions, and I'll have Kat, our producer here, kind of relay them to us so we can hear your questions and be able to answer them. All right, so without further ado, I would love to have the Voltage team go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the actual questions and all the fun stuff here.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks guys. Happy to be here. Pumped to have Lightning Fridays back. Hey everyone, my name is Graham. I am the founder and CEO of Voltage. I started Voltage about a little more than a year ago now, and I'm pumped to be talking about all the things that we have, our platform, and all those new things that we've been releasing or will be releasing soon.
And my name's Nate. I'm the support engineer at Voltage. I've been at Voltage for about 2 months now. Very excited to be doing my passion for a living now. Exiting the fiat world feels really, really good. So yeah, at Voltage, I just do community outreach and a lot of support, consultations, guiding people through this new wonderful technology that we're still growing out. And just enjoying every minute of it.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I'm Bob. I'm a back-end engineer here at Voltage. Started in June, right after the Miami conference. Actually met some of the guys on the team there for the first time. And it's been a great experience since. Look forward to starting this podcast up.
Absolutely, guys. So I really appreciate everyone joining, the audience, and everyone from Voltage here. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So some of these questions here at the beginning are just to kind of make sure that anyone that listens to this happens to wander in here or might listen to the live stream in the future will kind of understand Voltage and not just be totally lost from the very beginning. So would you guys just mind giving us a top level view of what is Voltage and why should anyone care?
Yeah, definitely. So Voltage is a Bitcoin infrastructure provider. So what we do is we help both individuals and businesses get up to speed with Bitcoin and Lightning faster. And so what we do is we do node hosting for both Bitcoin nodes and Lightning nodes. And we also have some additional products around the Bitcoin ecosystem, like BTC Pay Server. We just launched a product earlier this week called Flow, which is a liquidity management tool, I would say. So we're really creating an infrastructure platform that helps people get up to speed with Lightning faster and provide really good tools for managing your node and just getting connected with a greater network.
Okay, and so basically, Voltage is a way to kind of outsource the kind of maintaining of a node or managing a node to some extent, and to not have to worry about having like a node at home, for example, and having that just utterly destroy yourself while you're on vacation or something.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I'm kind of laughing because I think I saw Justifer in the LND Slack yesterday with this exact problem. But yes, that's exactly right. Through our platform, you can come sign up and walk through our setup, and you can have a Lightning node up and running in 2 minutes, very quick and easy. And we take care of all of the networking, the backups, just all of those things that you don't want to worry about, or maybe you don't know enough about the Lightning network to start to care about. So we take on a lot of that, maintenance burden and make it super easy where we just expose the APIs to you. You can connect in Zap, Zeus, whatever wallet, Thunderhub, any service that you want that is compatible with the LND APIs. So just really trying to take away that burden from users that maybe either don't know what they're doing, don't have time to maintain it, or going even into the business use case where they need some very robust deployments where they need like failover and making sure that their node is always online, and those more advanced pieces of running a Lightning node.
So would go ahead, Justifer, you're going to say something.
Oh yeah, thanks for that reference. The idea of having to maintain an always on server at your house might be a bit of a lift if it's a big node. So yeah, my Raspberry Blitz took a dump, but thankfully I did manage to recover it, but it got pretty scary. So Voltage and having a reliable cloud infrastructure type node is really appealing to me at the moment, and especially with these liquidity tools.
So I guess the obvious question, though, here at this point is, why should I trust Voltage? Could Voltage, just run off with all my Bitcoin, and now I'm sitting here looking like a fool or something?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We get that a lot, and so really on the Voltage platform, we take security very seriously, and we have done a lot on the platform to make sure that we don't essentially have access to the funds or the nodes that are running on our platform. So we do that through several different methods, but really, like we run LND right now, looking at other implementations later, but we run LND right now, and we leverage something called stateless init in LND, which essentially, instead of, by default, LND writes the macaroons to disk, so anyone that has access to the node can access everything on the node. Well, with stateless init, that doesn't happen, and it returns the macaroons directly back, to the user when they are initializing the node. So by doing things like that and making sure you are always communicating with your node directly, encrypting the TLS private keys, encrypting the Tor private keys, we basically don't have access into your node. We can't see your balances. We can't see your channels, your peers. We don't really know anything that's happening in your node. So we essentially can't run away with your money, and we don't have that ability. And even if we got subpoenaed by a government or something like that, we would hand them an encrypted hard drive that no one would ever be able to actually decrypt. So we take security very seriously. We call ourselves non-custodial because we cannot access all of those funds on there, but this isn't a trustless platform. You still kind of have to trust us to say we are doing what we say, but I always like to say that we're not an anonymous Twitter profile or something. We're like an established U.S. registered company, so I think that you can have some assurance on that front. And then we're diehard Bitcoiners at heart. We want to do what's best for the network and help people get online faster, and being able to provide a very robust, globally distributed platform is what we're building out here. So I think people can rest assured in kind of some of those things that I just outlined.
Got it. Okay. So let's say I'm a customer and I've decided that I would like to try Voltage. You said that there's like a maybe 5-minute setup process. Is that like everything? Do they still have to figure out how to get inbound liquidity and all of that? Does the new Flow system kind of help with that? What are the challenges that a new user basically is looking at?
I'll hop in on this one, Chaz. So basically, what at the foundational level, what Voltage sort of takes away from the whole node process is the hardware update management command line sort of work that we all kind of have to do. But once you get in with Voltage and create your node, which only takes a few seconds, you basically instantly have access to ThunderHub and off you go. So when it comes to managing channels and stuff, that is up to the customer on how they want to go about that. We're available though to help out, give tips, advice, explain how channels interact, explain how routing works, and all the other products like Loop and Pool. That's kind of my specialty, right? So I talk to our customers about how to use those in an effective way.
So should I send in a support ticket that says, how do I make my node profitable in the next week, please?
Yeah, you can actually do that. And it's funny because I actually have an article coming out early next week that answers that question.
Yeah. Yes. Nate's been doing a killer job at education and articles and things like that. There's a few things coming out soon that will touch on that a little bit, Chaz, which I think will be great for the community as well. But to kind of additionally touch on your question about Flow, so Flow is a new service that leverages Lightning Labs Pool product, which is essentially a non-custodial auction platform where nodes can come onto the auction and say, hey, I want to sell channels of X amount of size. And people that want to purchase channels that need inbound liquidity can go to the auction server and say, hey, I want to receive, I need channels open to my node to get access to the greater network. Using Pool is a little bit difficult to get set up. There's a lot. You already have to have a channel established. You have to deposit funds to get locked up for X number of days or weeks. And so it can be really difficult to use the Pool product. So what Flow is it's an abstraction for Pool. And what we do is we leverage sidecar channels in Pool to where you can come to our API. We'll have a dashboard out soon. But you can essentially enter in, say, hey, I want a 1,000,000 sat channel open to my node. We say, okay, cool. Here's like the fee, which is very, very minimal compared to the 1,000,000 sat channel that you're going to get. We submit it to the Pool marketplace on your behalf. You get matched up with the node, and then the node opens a channel to you. So it makes getting that initial inbound liquidity or ongoing inbound and outbound liquidity, because you can get a dual funded channel. It's funny on both sides. And so we're working on tools to making this liquidity management even easier. So even if you're a new user and you have no idea how to establish channels and how to get connected with good nodes on the network, we're making tools to automate a lot of those processes.
And one of the great things about Flow is that you don't need a Voltage hosted node to use Flow. Anyone running LND and Pool can use the sidecar functionality.
That's great. So in Flow, you don't have to pass over any of your macaroons or private keys. You're essentially just paying this fee to get the liquidity and providing like your node's pub key to get that channel open to you.
Yeah. Like how it works like right now is you basically just submit an API request of saying, hey, I want a 1,000,000 sat channel. we say, okay, here's the fee for that million sat channel. You pay the fee, and then it would generate a sidecar ticket, and you can use that sidecar ticket and on a local pool instance for your node, whether it's in pool by itself or the Lightning terminal or any of those things. You just claim that sidecar ticket, and then that's what you get. That's when you get connected up with someone in the auction server, and then get a channel open to you. So yes, you don't have to pass over any sensitive information at all. We don't even know what node this is being opened up to. So it's very secure and very anonymous in that way. And you can even, if you're trying to help someone onboard, you can give them this sidecar ticket that you just purchased for them. So the sidecar ticket is generic to any one particular node.
Cool. And so these sidecar tickets, are they only redeemable through LND nodes?
Yes, right now it's only for LND because it leverages Pool, which is only for LND. I think that even I don't want to speak for Lightning Labs, but I think that this could be abstracted to work with any implementation. It just hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be interesting to see if anyone bites the bullet on that. But yeah, it's really cool. So you can use this service. Your node doesn't have to be hosted on Voltage, but it could be. It just has to be an LND node, and you can use this really easy way to get inbound liquidity to your node, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just going to say, like, for me personally, I've been running Lightning nodes for a while, and there's a lot of times where people that I know, like, have a new Lightning node, and they're like, okay, I need inbound now. Can you open up a channel with me? And I'm always like, because it's like, that's my liquidity, and it's to a node that I'm not sure is even going to be high quality, that sort of thing. But with sidecar channels, I could just generate a channel or a sidecar ticket for like 3 or 4 million sats and be like, okay, here on LNURL, go to your Lightning terminal, put this in the sidecar redeem, and you'll get a channel hopefully within a day or so after it matches with a liquidity provider, and I could just be done.
Yeah, I have the perspective of this as a relatively new Lightning node runner. If you are just not well connected, or you don't have friends or other people that you can reach out to give you capacity on your side of the channel, then this is a great tool to get that. From another standpoint, even is like a privacy standpoint. So if you don't want to have a public channel that someone could possibly link with you and start making connections, this is a good way to accomplish that as well.
So say that again. So you can potentially have a private channel open to you from Pool?
Sorry, I might have made that a little confusing. If
tracking the payment.
Sorry, if I were to open a channel with Nate, and that's a public channel, people would potentially have some inkling that Nate actually knows Bob. Well, if I wanted to just have the inbound liquidity without pretty much any link with another person, by using Pool, I'm essentially getting, I don't want to say randomly matched, but you don't know who's on the other end of that when you're making that offer. So from that standpoint, there is a privacy benefit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that would be interesting if you don't want to run a routing node per se, because a routing node, we've got 30, 40 channels, who knows who I know. There's some people that I know that I have channels with, some people I don't. But if you're looking to just kind of like run like a small node to make payments and stuff, I agree with Bob that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and two other points that I'll make there is that it's privacy from what Bob just said, but it's also privacy from the standpoint of like your UTXOs for like the channel inputs. You don't have to use any of your own UTXOs to open the channel. We use ours, or like through the Pool service. Those are the UTXOs that are creating the channel. None of your private information is leaked when creating the channel itself. And then additionally, you can actually, so when you're creating these when you're requesting the channels, you can request to have a balance submitted on your side of the channel as well. And when you're submitting the channel, you have to pay for the fees with either a Lightning invoice or an on-chain invoice. And so say if you had Strike hooked up or something like that, you could have like a brand new Lightning node, or essentially just get liquidity without ever having to touch the chain at all, like for yourself, and being able to, you know, instantly be able to both send and receive through this service. So I think that there's a lot of utility through this, whether it's privacy, just onboarding, or even like rewards. Like you could have like, you know, Fold could like hook this up and like start giving out channels for like spins on their wheel or something like that. So I think that there's a lot of utility here in how this can be applied.
Got it. So we kind of went into what are some of the challenges are for maybe a customer or a user that's kind of more newer to Lightning, never opened up their own node before, and is just, you know, doing all that through Voltage, let's say. Okay, so let's say instead, our example is a business that's a little bit more established, that has a little bit more going on, and, you know, might be on a more advanced level with Bitcoin and Lightning. And so what are their challenges? You know, once you kind of reach this higher level, you know, where you've gotten your inbound, you have some outbound, you know, you're able to do transactions, you're able to get payments from customers, let's say. What are your challenges at that level once, you know, you move beyond the basics, basically, here?
Yeah, I think that I mean, I would even say, even going kind of back to the basics a little bit, is when we, you know, are talking to businesses or someone that's, you know, just kind of outside of running their own personal node, you know, the things that are very important to them are like uptime and connectivity, and being able to doing backups, making sure everything is kind of secure and highly available. And so that's the other piece that we do a lot of. We have a lot of, you know, mechanisms internally to handle failures, you know, in several different kind of areas. And so those are things that people, that maybe, you know, a business looks at more so than just an individual, of these kinds of, you know, I'm doing this, might be critical to my business, and I need to make sure that, you know, we're doing things properly, especially when people are starting to fund, you know, large channels or putting lots of Bitcoin onto their Lightning nodes. But then, you know, when you think about what are people looking for beyond, you know, once they get up and running, it's really a couple things. One, it depends on the use case, but, you know, say someone that's like receiving payments for like their store or something, you know, their channel is going to be drained naturally from like receiving all of those payments. And so how do I keep liquidity to my node while I'm still receiving payments? And so, you know, that's where like Nate hooks up with them and teaches them how to do like, you know, auto loop or things like that, that helps either balance their channels, or being able to like close channels and open new ones, you know, however they want to work through that. But it's really, how do we keep this liquidity in the areas that we want them to ongoing? Because, you know, as we all know, the Lightning network, liquidity on the Lightning network isn't stagnant. It's always moving. So figuring out how do we maintain this over time. And then additionally, it's observability. A lot of the businesses need kind of the observability into their nodes to figure out what's kind of happening, and where failure is happening, what's going right, what's going wrong. And we're working on a few tools, you know, to make that process easier as well. But really figuring out what's going on. And then thirdly is access. So, right, you know, obviously LND uses macaroons, but those are not kind of well understood in how those work. And say you have a developer that's coming on board that needs to integrate, you know, their node into their platform. Well, okay, how does he use macaroons? Does he just use the admin macaron for everything? Well, probably not. That's probably not good security practice. So educating them on how to use the macaroons and credentials in a good way. So it's really kind of taking it from, you know, instead of just running a node that's just there, and like, okay, how do we actually integrate this in a business sense, is really kind of where we look. And there's a lot of complexity there. And maybe Nate has some other comments too, because he does a lot of that onboarding.
I think you pretty much laid it out pretty well. Like, so far, you know, since we got our whole sort of support infrastructure put in place last month, there's been more and more people asking questions, people that understand Lightning to people that are completely new, and we're just helping everyone we can, even if they're likely not to be a Voltage customer. We're just trying to, like I said, spread the information as much as we can.
Got it. So just a quick reminder for everyone, if there's anyone out there in the audience that has a question, feel free to go ahead and ask it either on Twitter Spaces or on YouTube. But another question that I had was, so if you have a sufficiently large business, would flow be kind of insufficient for your liquidity needs? Like if you have like, high turnover on, the amount of products you're selling, let's say, so you're constantly, auto looping out, for example, or, using other tools that are out there. Do you think that there's a real challenge for people that are needing to source large amounts of liquidity? Is flow good? Does pool kind of work towards like those kind of larger amounts?
Yeah, I can. I can answer it. Nate probably has even better insight than I do, but I think that yes, like it does. I think that pool is still a little bit early. I think using flow will help really drive up the buy side where more people will start selling liquidity. So I think that this will all. I think that we're early and things are only going to increase from here. But I mean, you can put very large orders on pool, and if you don't get matched, maybe you just kind of chunk it up into smaller sizes. But I mean, you can get fairly sizable channels on pool today. And I think that's only going to increase over time. And then when you're thinking about it in a business sense, I think there's several different ways that you could approach it, whether you want to do like use loop to like move funds from one side of your channel to the other, or just simply close the channel and open up a new one through pool. So I think that that's another use case that you could do. That maybe just replaces, maybe it's more, I haven't really run the numbers, but maybe it's more cost efficient to not use loop and just use flow to request a new channel. But I think that the size of channels is already pretty decent. I think it's only going to increase.
Yeah, I think that, pool's been around for almost a whole year now, and I've been using it since it came out from the selling liquidity side. And selling liquidity has been, I think, a lot heavier than the buy side. And I think that has a lot to do with ease of use. Really, when it came out, obviously it was command line, and now it's on Lightning Terminal, which is in a lot of the like the umbrels and the mynodes and everything. And now with Flow, it should be even easier for that buy side of the marketplace to start matching with the provider side. And as that grows, that'll help decentralize channels. I mean, services like LNBig, for example, have been amazing for bootstrapping the initial Lightning Network years ago. But that hub and spoke sort of system needs to be distributed better throughout the network, in my opinion. So Pool is a great way to have that match, that channel match between, I mean, the incentives are great too, the buyer and seller incentives. So that volume should only go up in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a feedback loop. If a product like Flow makes it easier for people on the buy side to get in, and that order book is published, then people who have capital on the sidelines could recognize this and then recognize that they could be, on the other side of that order. And once you have a market like that, it's kind of a positive feedback loop. With more customers in, you're going to have more people incentivized to deploy their capital, and the loop continues.
So just to clarify something then, so if I had an Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, MyNode, Start9, et cetera, would I be able to access Flow, or would I need to do extra work in order to work with Flow here?
So if you want to redeem a sidecar channel, there's no extra work. If you want to generate a sidecar ticket, though, all you have to do is make a Voltage account, which is just an email and password. And that is because that is how you generate an API key to access the API system right now. But we're going to have a simple interface on your Voltage account, which is totally free. That'll allow you to just type in the size channel you want and those various parameters, and then it will spit out the sidecar ticket for you.
Got it. Okay. So I brought up City Shower up to the stage. Did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, guys. I have a question related to the BTC Pay Server that I'm currently running as a full blockchain node on one of my VPSs in the cloud. I used to have the Raspberry Pi, but I have noticed that synchronizing and changing the gaps between the wallet syncs, it's causing the CPU to throttle, and it's not really efficient way to host some scalable solutions, because I was playing around a little bit with the BTC Pay Server, and I came across the Lightning integration next to my standard Bitcoin wallet, and I see the 3 ways to implement the Lightning network: LNDC Lightning and eClear. And I have the Lightning Network wallet, but it lacks a lot of functionalities, and it states like in the header of this manual on their website that before you proceed, please understand that the Lightning Network is still in the experimental stage. Do not put the money you can't afford to lose. There is a high risk of you losing the money. What is your opinion on this kind of warning signs, even though they have been implemented inside the BTC Pay server? Is it safe enough at this moment to use it? And are there going to be any kind of tutorials for DIY or experimenters like myself, so we can find the easy way to deal with the Lightning networks? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So I'll start by answering. This is open to everyone else as well if they'd like to answer. So when Lightning first hit mainnet, I believe at the beginning of 2018, the phrase that went out for people that started using it at that point was reckless, because you were reckless to put money into the system where you had no good backups to restore from. So at this point, though, I think things are a bit different. I think I understand the BLW warning. I think you're talking about Anton's BLW wallet. And so I kind of understand why he would put that warning in there. And I would probably say, I wouldn't have my grandma, try to start up a Lightning wallet because there's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of ways that you can mess up if you don't, kind of know what you're doing on some level. So I definitely feel like there's some truth to that statement. So I would say from my perspective, it's very important that you learn the ins and outs of the system to some extent, limit the amount that you're putting on to your Lightning wallet, for example, and just kind of slowly move your way in, try to understand how the static backups work. If you're going to be using the BTC Pay Server Lightning Network setup, I might recommend trying to do some backups on your VPS directly. It may not be the greatest because if you back up and you have an old channel state, you'll actually hit a penalty transaction, but hopefully that'd be less likely. But as you can basically tell from me getting into the more complicated portion of it, it isn't for the faint of heart. There are easier ways to start. Basically, why we have Voltage on is to kind of examine some of the, more newbie-friendly ways. So Voltage might be a way that we recommend. I believe, please, guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe there is a BTC Pay Server on Voltage as well.
I also see, sorry to interrupt you, I want to bring some input from the website, from BTC Pay Server. I see here that they're recommending RTL is the Lightning agnostic web user interface to manage the node. And next to it, I see the Lightning with the Zap wallet integration. Then they're also recommending the Joule plugin. And there is also some CLI and C Lightning with the Spark wallet. And the labs, like the Lightning Network applications. What are those? Are those more reliable? Are those being maintained like on a daily basis by the active community? Because I know these are like open source projects, and I know a lot of you guys like everyone is putting their effort and time to maintain these projects. But which one would be like, for example, I have the node, I'm testing it right now for my crowdfunding for my non-profit organization. But in a soon future, I'm planning also to provide accounting endpoint services for the users and the companies that do own and accept Bitcoin on their balance spreadsheets. Because here I'm living in Netherlands, so it's a quite new thing for the accountants themselves, and the BTC Pay provides the basic things that I need, like the transaction times and difference in the value, like the fluctuation rates and such things. So I was thinking like maybe to throw them some APIs. So what would be like, what is the safest thing? I know that a lot of these guys are running the WordPress websites and they have some WooCommerce e-commerce engines behind it. So I see like the WooCommerce Lightning Gateway on the labs, and also the Lightning Publisher for some bloggers and stuff. Those are the most two things that are currently interesting me. So are these being maintained by the Lightning Network developers themselves, or is it another part of another community?
So let me go ahead and jump in here really fast. So most of the things you're going to find on BTC Pay Server are pretty up to date, but not everything is. So for example, Joule is not really up to date. I still use it, but Willow Byrne hasn't really been working on it as his main project for quite a while. And so what I would generally recommend, there isn't really a quote unquote easy mode for BTC Pay Server. I think, you know, I had to kind of get used to BTC Pay Server on my end, starting my podcast, having it be kind of at the center of everything. You know, if a a listener wants to, you know, drop some sats for support, you know, my BTC Pay Server can do that. If they want to buy a hat, a sticker or whatever from the store that we run, the BTC Pay Server also handles that. Like you mentioned, they have that crowdfunding platform that I can't remember the guy from the BTC Pay Server team that did this, but he basically ran a nonprofit called Bitcoin Smiles, where people in El Salvador were able to get their dental surgery via donations from the Bitcoin community. They were taking primarily Lightning Network transactions, but also on-chain Bitcoin transactions. So long story short with this one, I would recommend kind of researching everything, trying to figure out, you know, what implementation would want.
I agree on those, but what is the name? What does the name Nicolas Dorier says to you? Because on a Bitcoin on the BTC Pay,
I'm the host of the show, dude. So if I said hold on, I need you to hold on. So I appreciate the question, but we can't like monopolize the entire show for this one question. I'm really sorry. So we're going to try our best to answer it and then just proceed from there. But we can't have like half the show be dedicated to this, man. I'm sorry.
I'll jump in for just a few minutes and then we can, you know, move on. But I would say just for your exploration, I mean, we on Voltage, we host BTC Pay Server. You can hook it up with your Voltage node too. And we, you know, when you talk about CPU spikes and all these, you know, weird things that happen, you know, when running these things, we basically handle all that for you. And we do backups on your Voltage node, your BTC Pay Server. We handle all of that kind of stuff for you, and we have, you know, Thunderhub dashboards on the node. So we, you know, like hit us up. You can, you know, message our support channel or message Nate or something, and we can definitely help you get started and point you in the right direction. And then, you know, we have a lot of services that are tailored basically for exactly what you're saying, of just, you know, trying to accept payments for whatever, you know, whatever it is you want to do without having to maintain or worry about, you know, backups and CPU and all this stuff on behind the scenes.
Yeah, the list of products out there was a little staggering from City Shower, but it's just sort of an indicator that the space is moving really fast, and there's tons of projects out there, but it's certainly still in the do your own research phase, where we are benefiting from groups like PlebNet that are actually documenting and creating wikis and all the documentation that's happening to sort of like build on what has already been built and kind of further the open source technology. But when you're trying to choose which product or which project you want to install, you will have to look it up. But luckily this all operates on a protocol that uses specs, so it is interoperable. So you might have a different interface that you look at. However, it speaks the same language.
Another cool thing.
But definitely.
Oh, sorry. I just want to say another cool thing is like all these apps and projects that interface some way with your nodes or whatever. Mostly all of them have an active community, either on Telegram or a Slack or something, so you can always ask questions and learn from other people that are using it.
All right, fantastic there. So we'll go ahead and proceed. I apologize for the kind of having to take action there with that person asking the question. But anyway, so I wanted to get back to what I had here for questions. So something that I'm thinking about is like the stack for a business running, Bitcoin Lightning. So for a quick example, might be my podcast. I use like we're talking about BTC Pay Server. I might use the podcasting 2.0 backend, the new podcastapps.com stuff, all that kind of stuff. Do you see the kind of business stack for a Bitcoin Lightning business expanding in the future? Is it going to be like Voltage is going to be in that stack, do you think? Et cetera here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that there's yes, we will absolutely be kind of like in that stack, and we're working on what we have today is only a small portion of what we plan to do and what we want to build out. So there's a lot more things to come, and that will only increase the stack or the tooling around what people need to run Lightning nodes or interact with the Lightning network. So yes, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for us, both at the infrastructure level and then beyond when you think about podcasting and all these other things too. So yes, I think that there's there are many problems to solve, as I'm sure everyone here probably knows, and so lots of things to build. We're looking at several things that I think we can add a lot of value at too. But then it's also a matter of us. What we really want to do is enable the community to build what they want to build, right? Like we aren't going to do everything. So what we want to do is make a platform that makes it easy for people to create the Ambosses, the Zeuses, the whatever it is that people are making out in the community to enhance the adoption of the Lightning Network. So yes, there's a lot of things we're building, but we're also trying to make a platform that makes it easy for other people to build as well.
What kind of projects do you think people might end up building here?
I'm guessing you're meaning like people outside of us, or like us specifically?
Right. Outside, like people that are outside of Voltage using the Voltage platform to bootstrap XYZ.
Yeah, it's what I really like, and what is super interesting to me in this space is that it's very greenfield. Like there's a lot of things to build, and the Lightning Network can really be the way I see the Lightning Network kind of expanding is being able to plug into like the existing kind of Web 2 infrastructure and being able to like enhance that experience. So what the value for value on podcasting 2.0, and doing paywalls and all of these things that are kind of normal internet things, but enhancing them in a way that is more decentralized, more peer-to-peer. is really the way I see things rolling out. So I think that, to name any specific app is like, I think that it could be any of them. Like Stacker News is like something that, just kind of came up that makes a perfect sense to be Lightning integrated. So I think that there's the use case is vast in terms of what people can build. And then there's also like the completely new things like the Lightning Explorers or the Insights and things like that. I think that there's no shortage of things to build on the network.
Yeah, and a good example of that is what happened in August. Impervious AI, check them out on Twitter. They ran a hackathon, and we sponsored a whole bunch of nodes for them. And the things that people created were really cool. I mean, a vast amount of use cases, everything from a chat room to a telephone app. I believe there was one with a VPN. Is there a decentralized storage? There's one, the World Computer, I believe, is the winning one. But I think that just highlights the tip of the iceberg of the types of things that we're going to see that people are building, and maybe they'll use voltage nodes to accomplish that.
All right, so I think I've come to the section. Oh wait, Jessifer, did you want to say something here?
Oh, I did get a question in my DMs from Breeze. Sorry, not Briz. But he was wondering, like, are there any advantages to having two Lightning nodes? Like, for example, you might have an existing node and a voltage node, for example.
Yes, I think there are advantages to that. I think that it all kind of depends on what you're trying to accomplish and what you want to do. I think that voltage, like, so we even have like on-demand nodes where like you don't have to pay for a monthly subscription. You can just pay for the amount of like hours that it's running. And so by enabling things like that, I think that there's a strong privacy use case to it where if you want to run like a donation site for a week or two and you don't want to dox yourself for, your node or get your pub key out there for this donation site or something like that, you can spin up a voltage node for a week, receive your donations, close all the channels, withdraw your money, and then delete the node. So I think that there are use cases where you could have both a voltage node and a personal node. I mean, if you're creating a side project or a business or something, obviously, you don't really probably want to do that on a Raspberry Pi. And so, yes, I think there's several use cases where you could have both an at-home node and a voltage node. And I think that for an individual, I think that a lot of those drivers are around privacy and, protecting, segregating what you're doing that maybe you don't want associated with your identity, and then keeping the things that are okay with your identity, on your personal node.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that. Back to you, Chaz.
All right, so you guys ready for the controversial part of the podcast session here? So when you guys launched Flow, something that I saw was I'm not sure if ire is the right word or upsetness is the right word, but the C Lightning folks have a bit of a different opinion on Pool and Flow, I believe. So I think maybe the question was, why not liquidity ads? Why sidecar channels?
No, thank you for bringing this up. I'm glad you did. No, so like I think that people maybe feel like we're us as a platform is like catering to like Lightning Labs and L&D, and like what we want to create is a platform to make Lightning easier. And so right now we've launched with L&D, so that's why we have a lot of L&D focused services around Pool and whatnot. We will add C Lightning support one day. We're a small team right now, so it's really a matter of engineering resources to pull on C Lightning onto the platform. And then at that point, we can have liquidity ads and all of these other things that C Lightning brings. So it's not our product roadmap, and what we have today and what we're building is by no means trying to compete or discredit Blockstream and C Lightning. I mean, I love a lot of those people there, and I think that I think a lot of them see it as the same way as well. So we absolutely do want to support offers and C Lightning, all of these things. It's really just a matter of engineering resources at this point. We don't have 100 people to work on this, so that's really what it comes down to. And it's not like we're trying to push one particular product. What we want to make is a platform where that gives the user the optionality. They can choose LND, they can choose T Lightning, they can choose offers or pool or whatever they want to do. And so that's really what we're trying to build. It's just going to take time to get there to that end result of being able to host a platform where the user has complete control over all of the pieces of the implementation details. So it'll happen. It just takes time.
Got it. So kind of along a similar line there, maybe less on Voltage itself and just kind of maybe your opinion about the state of the reality of the implementations out there. So as I'm sure you're all aware, LND is far more popular than any of the other implementations by some stupid margin. What's your guys' opinion on this? Do you think that's something that should change, either by trying to encourage, alternatives, etc.? What's your guys' take here?
Nate or Bob, I don't want to hog the stage.
No, I was just thinking about that. I honestly, what I would really, really like to see is as much interoperability as possible, but with unique sort of, I don't want to say features, unique, I don't know, takes or focuses maybe. Because it seems like, I don't know, so this is just my opinion, but it seems like Lightning Labs and LND are really focused on sort of, and sort of masking away the command line as much as possible over the last 12 months. We have Lightning Terminal, which was amazing. Before Lightning Terminal, we could use Loop through RTL, but like Pool and stuff was all command line. And so Lightning Labs in-house built a system to allow users to easily use their products. And I think that goes a long way with the community, especially the Bitcoiners that are, normal 9-to-5 people that want to run a node and everything, but don't want to sit down and do command line stuff, which I totally understand. And I think that that's gonna have to be the end game if these other implementations want to get more users. Now, if your focus is other things such as experimental development, that sort of thing, then maybe that's different. But I think that there should be, or there could be different goals. But look, we could go into the whole weeds with the whole Bolt 12 thing if we really wanted to. That's something that I would personally like to see. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that because there's so many different opinions among so many different of the high-end Lightning developers. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Anyway, sorry for a little ramble there.
Yeah, no worries, Nate. Really appreciated that. It's my opinion that we're going to see exactly that. We're going to see, it's pretty clear that these different development houses have different priorities and are trying different approaches. And I think that there's going to be a period of a couple years here where things just go like totally haywire in different directions. Like I feel to a certain extent we're in a sort of kumbaya period as far as interoperability between all the nodes, and things are going to get quite hairy for a little bit as this battle of these different ideas and their implementations ramps up. But that's just my 2 cents.
I kind of get that vibe too, actually. But I think I'm going to be the one that's like, can't we all just get along? Like, I run C Lightning and I run LND. Let's be friends. Yeah,
I just really feel for, the people making interfaces and wallets that support multiple implementations. It's going to be quite tricky focusing, engineering hours to roll out new features to your app, but, it only working for one of the implementations that you support. So there's a lot of challenges in that.
If I may jump in, I wanted to get your thoughts on the arcane crypto research, where they were talking about like while the Lightning Network capacity is growing pretty immensely, it may not be enough to support all of the demands that may come. I think they were saying in late 2022 by their estimation, and I was kind of curious how you thought that might liquidity platforms, either through pool or liquidity ads, or maybe people will just be using Loop themselves. If maybe I could get your thoughts on that.
I can jump in here, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. I'm a real believer that there's a whole bunch of capital on the sidelines right now that wants to be involved in Bitcoin one way or another, whether that's mining, whether it's actually just holding sats. But I think that as they become, the people with this capital become more comfortable with Lightning Network and they see it as more established, because right now, there's only about a little more than 3,000 Bitcoin in capacity on the Lightning Network. As that number grows, I think larger capital is going to become more comfortable with deploying liquidity on the Lightning Network. And I think right now it's very hard to predict. Arcane could do as best as they can with the numbers that they have, but there's almost no way to know exactly how much capital is sitting on those sidelines, waiting for a moment to feel comfortable or the right time to strike. So I think it's really hard to project if there's not enough. Not that there's not enough right now, but if there's going to be enough in the future, because we just don't know how much is sitting on the sidelines waiting to jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in here too. I think that I think Bob's right, and I think that I haven't read the full Arcane report, but I think that there is, like, that's something that I've just been absolutely amazed by since I started Voltage, is the amount of people that are interested in Lightning, that are just kind of like waiting to see what's, like, kind of where's it going, what's happening, and I think that there's more than people realize of people that are interested in the space that are just kind of like looking at it and figuring out when the right time is to jump in. And I think that those people will start to jump in. I mean, this has been a hell of a year for the Lightning Network, and I think that that's going to continue. And I think that there will be, a large amount of capital deployed to the network. But additionally, I think that there's I haven't read the report on, like, why they think that there needs to be more or whatever, but I think that there's also, like, enhancements and improvements and new services and things that will alter how we use the Lightning Network, but then additionally maybe doesn't, changes the capital allocation requirements of it. So I think that we're still so early in the network that it's hard to really say one way or the other. But as a final thing, I think that there's a huge amount of interest that's just kind of waiting to figure out when is the right time to jump in, and that will be soon.
Personally, I'm not worried. Like, when there's not enough liquidity, the rates on the channels will go up, right? And then when people see there's more of an opportunity to make a profit, more capital will come in. I think the bigger problem is the tooling right now. And we have a real last mile problem getting, inbound and outbound liquidity to and from users that are just beginning. And, I think things like Flow really go a long way in helping solve this problem. A combination between liquidity services caked into LSPs. Basically, we need as much experimentation as possible right now to see what different combinations work for what different classes of users. And, we got to find methods that'll help, provide payment paths for everyone who wants to hop onto Lightning. So yeah, just really, really pumped to see stuff like Flow and liquidity ads and Pool and Lulus, everything trying to help solve this problem is going a long way. So I'm not like I said, I'm not worried about the capital. The capital will come when we need it. We really just need to buckle down and focus on the tooling right now and make this as user-friendly as possible.
But my understanding from and I read, admittedly not word for word, the entire report, but I did read a significant amount of it. And my understanding was that, and they phrase it as Lightning use will outpace capacity growth. And they didn't mean this in the sense that the amount of usage on the Lightning Network would not be sustainable with the capacity on it. I think they were simply making the argument that the number of transactions that are happening across channels is growing at a much higher rate. The capacity is being added, not that there's not enough liquidity. I don't think they were addressing it as a problem per se.
Interesting. I'll have to dive into a little bit further into the report then. But yeah, either way, we're on the up and up, and seeing something like, what is it? Something like 4% network growth, at least of public capacity on average, month after month is pretty incredible. So I think it's only going to ramp up at this point.
Huge. I love those responses that you gave. Evan, I love what you said about kind of the different, just kind of evaluating these different ways that this problem, if it is a problem, gets solved. And it sounds like we've got tons of options, and Flow just being one of those options, but a way to kind of make it easier for people to actually participate. If I could follow up with another question about what do you think about user friendliness kind of driving innovation in the Lightning Network and overall user experience?
I think it's driving everything. Like, I feel like the people, we've come a long way in building the protocol out 3 years, and things are working remarkably well. Like, the network's growing. People are coming to terms with how the liquidity works. We're getting higher success rates on our payments for the most part. I feel like everything is just driven around, like, how are we going to make this work? How do we scale it to the next 10x amount of users? And it really just comes down to usability. And if we can make it an easy experience, the users will come. Like, for example, when the internet first started up, like, you had to know how to connect to everyone's different servers, and how DNS worked and BGP and all these different protocols, right? Just for these researchers to be able to send pretty much their findings from their research across the country. But nowadays, you don't have to worry about that flow of that package. Like, your grandmother hops on her TV or smart TV or her MacBook or whatever and could sign into Netflix and watch her shows in high definition, 4K, whatever. And she has no flipping idea of where those packets are coming from and going to, and nor should she care. The same thing has to happen on the Lightning Network. Users cannot, at least the average everyday user, I'm sure many of us here are still going to be managing their own channels, but the average everyday user is not going to want to care about managing their liquidity, where it's coming from. They only care about whether their payments are coming in and working, or going out and working. We need to get to that level. So whether it be through marketplaces, tools like Flow, liquidity ads, this is the time to figure out what makes sense for what different scenarios. Like, different enterprises might want to get more technical with their liquidity, as it could cost them, thousands, millions of sats with doing different transactions. But for the average user, they just are going to care about it working. So everything is going to be driven by user experience and user friendliness.
Yeah, I still think we're in such the early days of even just the Lightning Network, and we need tools to not only just help onboard individuals who want to use Lightning Network, but also the developers, which is a big part of it. You guys are probably all familiar with that Steve Ballmer clip where at Microsoft earnings report, whatever. So he was on stage and he goes, developers. Basically, when you bring the developers on, they're going to help make the tooling that's going to make it easy for the masses. And I still feel like that is kind of where we are with the Lightning Network right now. Advanced users can use the existing tooling that's out there right now, but it's not necessarily still, grandma ready. And bringing developers on right now is a very important focus for myself.
Absolutely.
I think we all, like, you know, we're all working on something different, but in general, we're all reaching towards the same goal. You know, that's the Bitcoin world. And I think that motivates me every day. And, you know, you, Evan, bringing up like that usability thing, I just had a thought in my head, like, wouldn't it be cool to have something that totally, like, you plug it in, you like a point of sale system or something, you plug it in, you don't even know you're using Lightning. It just has QR codes for your customers, but it is on the back end using Pool to get inbound and blah, 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 blah. You don't even realize it kind of thing. Like, I think that's definitely where we're going to be going.
Yeah, I'm definitely envisioning a world where you can plug your node you plug your node right into different services, and you could provide them different access keys or macaroons that are far more granular than what we know of them today. And you know, you just issue these tokens that have access to different, you know, abilities. Like I want to be able to say, okay, I'm going to grant access for the management of my channels for the next month to this party with this token. It expires after a month. They can do only up to 50 operations. They can only open and close channels. They can't loop, or maybe they can, and they're allowed to move around X amount of capital. I think like more granular controls and services like that could go a long way, especially towards big enterprises that don't want to take on the overhead of putting the time and energy into managing the liquidity and just want to offload it to a third-party provider. I think that's going to be a huge thing that there's going to be many competing services for. But yeah, I think it's just going to be like granting access to, you know, your node in different ways, similar to how you would grant access to your Twitter profile to an external application that leverages your Twitter account or your Facebook account or whatever it may be. But yeah, just being able to click X and revoke privileges within a UI really simply, and to switch to another provider if you're unhappy with your results.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I'll have to enter my channel my inner Steve Ballmer or whatever. So I remember that video. But I feel like to give another like explanation of I think where we are is, if for those that remember, there used to be a time where you got your internet like through like the phone line. And if you're like playing a video game online and someone like called your landline, like you would get disconnected from the video game and you like couldn't play anymore. Like I feel like we're kind of at that stage where like today that seems so silly and like ridiculous, but like there was a time where that was a reality. And, you know, like, I think we're there. And I think there will be a time where, like, all of these things that people have said where, you know, you don't have to worry about channels if you don't want to. If you want to, you can. And a lot of these things are just kind of taken care of for you. So, you know, I think, like Nate said, I think we're all building towards that future. Or maybe Bob said it, but we're all building towards that. And I think it will be a reality one day.
Perfect. So we're about an hour in to our podcast here. Looks like we just lost Nate, so hopefully he comes back up to the stage. But right now we're going to go ahead and do a quick update on Lightning Junkie's Zeus wallet and Amboss here really fast. You know, our kind of pseudo sponsors, since those are the companies that we run as the hosts here. So just a couple announcements from Lightning Junkies here really fast. We already previously announced that Bitcoin 2022 is, you know, dropping money to actually keep our podcast running. And now we can actually announce that Fold is actually doing the same thing as well. So for the next 6-7 months or so, they're going to be, you know, supporting us. And so we're basically going to be building out a system that will allow us to kind of make it easier for people to do this, put them onto a supporters page kind of thing. So right now, we don't have that up quite yet, but when we do, it's going to be Fold, Bitcoin 2022, and actually Evan, since Evan actually contributes funds to the Lightning Junkies podcast. So we're going to have him or Zeus Wallet or whatever he wants on there. So yeah, that's kind of our update from our side here.
Cool. Very cool. Exciting stuff. Congrats, Chaz. You know, my 615 sat salary for this episode hasn't been paid yet from those funds. So if you get that to me as soon as possible, that'd be great. But very exciting news on that front. And we hope that Lightning Junkies and Lightning Friday last for years to come. So congrats again, my friend. And happy to be doing this with you.
Thank you, sir. One little tease that I'm going to do. So right now we have Lightning Junkies and Lightning Friday on our like show roster kind of thing. We have a third show that might be hitting the airwaves, as it were. That's also Lightning focused. That does not have me on it whatsoever. I'm not on it. They don't invite me. But we will be announcing that at some point in the future. Just thought I'd want to tease that here a bit.
Intriguing. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes peeled for that. Cool. Got a lot of stuff cooking. That's great, Chaz. Yeah, so just quick little Zeus update. Going to keep it short and sweet. We are still grinding on our redesign. The latest thing we're working on right now is the settings page. So that's been completely revamped. And we've rigged up all the functionality as far as picking your nodes goes. And we're hoping to finish out the rest real soon. So we need to put out another alpha release in the next week or two. And yeah, it's just been great getting everyone's feedback. Thanks to everyone who's filed issues on GitHub or asked us about issues on our Twitter DMs, which are open, and on Telegram. Thanks for everyone supporting. If you want to further support Zeus, you could leave us a review on either the iOS App Store or on Google Play. We also have a little bit of a donation portal on GitHub under my GitHub sponsors, but we're soon going to also have a fully fledged donation portal, new documentation website for people getting set up with Zeus for the full time, and a brand new website. So hoping to get those out the door very soon. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to our designer Bosch. Bosch is a pseudonymous UI designer, and he has been leading the charge on the Zeus interface. So all the new fancy new skin is by and large in part to his efforts. He just got a grant from Square Crypto. So he's going to be working on Bitcoin and Lightning UI and UX for the next year. I just want to say, congratulations to him. It's well deserved, and I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to work with him and make Zeus a much better application than it was when I just had the skin for it. So hat tip to Bosch, and really excited for all the stuff we're going to launch in the next year and build out. So cheers.
Wow. Congrats to you both on some incredible updates. On the Amboss side, our Lightning Network Explorer, Amboss.space, we've just completed a redesign of the homepage. And Tony IOI, who's in the audience, go ahead and give him a follow, has done some incredible work adding some awesome colors as well as stats listings of like who the big movers are on the Lightning Network, as well as seeing the growth of claimed nodes. So this is really showing how technical the Lightning Network is, because now 1/8 of the network has actually used a digital signature and claims their node on Amboss. That includes some contact information, and big goal is just making sure that people can talk to each other. Additional updates, we added a status icon for channels on the node pages. So you'll actually be able to see whether someone has disabled a channel, which might affect your ability to route, but it might also be a strategy to help reduce routing failures. So that's a big update, as well as we added some fee rate histograms. So this is all helping to kind of visually digest all of the information out there on the Lightning Network, so you can make some good decisions about where to point your capital on the Lightning Network. And with that, we can bring it back to Chaz.
I'm a big fan of the little status icons. I just noticed those today.
It's all about the little things.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been learning about the disabled channels myself, but it can kind of control traffic on the channel, so you can make it only go one way or two-way traffic, or pretty much just turn the channel off.
Yeah, like if it's not worth you to move that liquidity and you want people to route through other channels you have, it's super useful to flip on and off. But yeah, definitely more of an advanced user feature.
It's also an easy thing for me to screenshot and send out of band to the node operator to tell them to get their thing working again.
There you go. Okay, I think we may have lost Chaz to a bathroom break or something.
I got a notification that his connection is bad or something, which I haven't seen before. But I can give a little update. We're not a host. We're a guest, but I'll still give an update. But for those that haven't heard already, we launched a Flow product earlier this week that helps you easily get channels on the network. I'll also anyone that wants to try it for free, I have DM me and I'll give you some coupons. You can use coupon codes to get free channels through Flow. So hit me up. I'll give you a coupon. You can try it out. Let us know how it works and get a free channel with it. And then additionally, I don't want to spoil Chaz's what he's got going on, but since he's not responding, I'll do it. But if you want to try out Voltage, you can use the code Lightning Friday, all one word, on checkout, and you get 50% off your first month. So try that out if you want to check out Voltage. Spin up a node, get a channel. Yeah, hit me up. Hit up our support or Nate if you have any issues, and we can we'll get you on the Lightning Network.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah, guys. So to reiterate, if you want to try out Voltage and you want to get 50% discount for your first month, try out code Lightning Friday. Really stoked about that. Thank you, Graham. Yeah, it's just been an awesome product, and I think as far as cloud offerings for stuff in the cloud, Voltage is just way ahead of the pack right now. Between just being able to spin up your Lightning node really quickly and plug it into your node.
Man, why, oh why does Twitter hate me? It was going so well.
So
What are you gonna do?
I know, man. Just everything, just break. Why don't you? Okay, that's fine.
All right.
All right.
Let's try to get our bearings back.
Okay. Send the link out to everybody so we can try to finish the rest of the show here. Sorry about that, Graham. Sorry to the rest of the Voltage team there. It's not our preferred workflow.
This happens about every other Twitter space I'm in, so it's not a big deal.
All right, yeah, that's pretty much the same here. So
they definitely need to iron out some of those overflow bugs. Yeah, let's just get a couple minutes for people to get back on, and I think we got a whole bunch of other stuff we could talk about, right, Chaz?
yeah, I have some audience questions that we didn't get to yet, and I have a couple of questions left on my like what I wrote out before the show started here. So I'm just trying to get everyone the link here, try to retweet the current link. I really wish Twitter Spaces didn't make you like remake the room each time. Like, let me make a room that's tied to my Twitter account so everyone can just rejoin without it being a thing. But, you know.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure. Let's try to share some of our posts up here.
All right. But Kat, we're still recording, right? So we're still live streaming all this. So I hope everyone in the future is enjoying our technical difficulties here at the moment. I'm sure it's very amusing. Apologies, guys. We're getting this all back together here. So I'm gonna get Bob back on the stage. There's Nate. Perfect. And it looks like Kat's laughing. Great. You know, we need more cat laughing emojis here.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yeah,
I think we got everybody, right?
To host the main stuff on, and maybe we put Twitter Spaces on a proxy. We'll have to do a brainstorming session because this happens too much. But yeah, we should be good for the rest of the session at least.
All right. So sorry about that, everybody. But it looks like I crashed, kind of. You guys were able to keep talking. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just watch on YouTube and let everyone else finish. But then it crashed. So we're back now. All right, guys. So to kind of get us back started to where we were, I'm just going to go ahead and ask a couple of questions that Mike from the audience asked us here. So when is Voltage going to add LNURL auth?
Ooh, good
yeah. Do you mean that as like a service like to connect like for your node?
I believe so.
I'm guessing. Yeah, so we're kind of looking into like the best way to do that. I know. So right now, lnpay.co I think is what the URL is. They do a lot of the LNURL stuff, and you're able to actually link up LNPay to your Voltage node. So I would explore that option for right now. We also have the BTC Pay Server, which I think we're updating ours to like 1.3 that just got released this evening. And I think that has some LNURL stuff in it too. So there's a few different ways to do it right now. But then additionally, we're looking at how we can do it more natively on our platform really soon too, with maybe a few different ways of us interacting with it directly, I guess.
Got it. Yeah, just a quick sideline there. Yeah, we just updated our BTC Pay server to the new version here, and it adds LNURL, it adds the Lightning address function. We signed up, we set up our Lightning address thing. So ours is bolty@btcpay.lightningjunkies.net. Not the greatest because it has the subdomain in there. Hopefully in the future we'll get a better Lightning address. Second question from the same person here. When will they be able to pay for Voltage using Lightning directly?
You can do that today. We accept credit cards, Bitcoin, and Lightning. So yeah, you can do that today already.
Perfect. Glad to hear that. I was thinking it was possible, but I just don't have time to go and check right this moment. But glad for that answer there. So let's head back to my other questions that I had here. So, you know, we had a bit of an interruption there, but maybe to kind of get back into the flow of things, could you guys let me know what are the biggest challenges with building Voltage, kind of expanding the scope of Voltage, and just in the future, where are we going to be? Like, where are you guys going to be at as far as a business? Are you going to kind of expand the vision that Voltage has and try to kind of do more for more people? What are you guys thinking here?
Yeah, sure. I can kind of start that one. So biggest challenges were just figuring out how do you run like thousands of Lightning nodes in a scalable manner without basically no human interaction at all, and being able to also do it in a very secure way. For those that didn't hear before the kind of connection dropped at the beginning, we do a lot with security to make sure that the nodes that we're running are very secure and have a lot of safety mechanisms built into it. So that was a huge hurdle to enable us to be able to run nodes in a very secure way, which I have submitted many PRs into LND to accomplish that. And then just figuring out how do we do this like in a scalable way that is good for the user as well, that has a great user experience where they don't have to, we want to abstract away all of those difficult pieces of it as much as possible. So those are kind of the challenges that we've had to face building the platform. And then thinking to the future, we're definitely expanding the vision. I mean, there's a lot of things that we want to cover. There's a lot of issues to solve in the Lightning Network. So we're definitely going to be expanding, still focus on that infrastructure level and node operations for sure, but definitely expanding into how can we solve a lot of these different problems that node runners are experiencing, and how can we provide the best products and services for those that are trying to do really kind of like those bigger, serious, more business critical tasks on Lightning, and how do we make it really easy for them.
Do you see the future of Voltage essentially being the same task, or do you see it kind of evolving to match the contours of the future Lightning Network ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely that's something that I'm always super conscious of, is that, like we talked about, we're in the early days. There's a lot of things that are changing and changing very rapidly. I think that even the Lightning Network that this time last year was very different than the Lightning Network that we have today. So things change fast. And I think that us as a company needs to be able to adjust to that, quickly, and be able to figure out how do we best serve our customers, with the current state of the Lightning Network. So I think there's a few things like our node hosting platform, I don't think will be drastically different over time. There might be a few, changes here and there that are needed. But when we're looking at, new products and services, we're definitely kind of keeping an ear to the ground of what are our users needing, how are we going to best service them, and, accomplishing the tasks for where they're headed.
Got it. Okay. And then what is the downside with Voltage? What about Voltage sucks, let's say? What can be improved? What is something that can make Voltage just irrelevant, et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, definitely things that we're looking to improve upon is kind of like what I mentioned earlier, is adding more implementations. So expanding outside of L&D and adding in the other implementations as well. And then being able to, we have things in the works to be able to distribute ourselves across anywhere in the world, any single location, any single data center. So we're looking to enhance our offering by doing more implementations, geographically distributing everything about our entire platform. So those are the things that, as we evolve, as we develop the platform out further, those are the things that we're looking at improving upon. And then, still being able to give the user complete control over their node is always top of mind. So we're always looking to keep that functionality for the users, no matter where they're at, no matter what software they're running.
All right, so that's the end of my voltage questions. Evan and Justifer, do you have any other voltage questions you want to launch into before I kind of launch into my more general Lightning Network stuff here?
I do have a question about that geographic location. Do you have any countries in mind that you might be looking at to kind of diversify your location of these nodes for this cloud infrastructure?
It's really based on like customer demand. Where are people wanting them? Definitely like some European regions, and then Central America. So I would say a lot of like the kind of expected locations that you would see. There's a lot of activity in Central America. There's a lot of activity in Europe too. So at least in the beginning, it'll be likely in those scenarios, and then from there, it's kind of just working with their users to see exactly where they want to deploy their infrastructure.
Awesome. Bring your infrastructure to your users. That's cool.
Was there anything about voltage that we missed? Any important details you feel like that we should share before we launch into just general Lightning stuff?
The only things I think that I'll just make a general statement that anyone that wants to just check out the platform, like we have a free trial, go sign up, go spin up a testnet node, and just see how everything works. Then we also have those on-demand nodes if you need anything for a quick node for a week or something like that. So we aren't only like a subscription-based platform. And then additionally, what I kind of mentioned before the Twitter space crashed was that you can use the code Lightning Friday, all one word, to get 50% off your first month. And then if you want to try out Flow and get some free channels open to your node, DM me. I'll give you a coupon, and we'll get you some free channels hooked up.
Awesome. Thanks, Graham. I appreciate that. Giving people these discounts is up my alley.
Hell yeah. And I'm definitely going to take you up on getting a channel. I got to try this out firsthand.
I'm trying to be the Oprah of Lightning channels.
I like that a lot. Oh, man.
All right, so we're kind of in the final stretch of the show here. So if anyone out there has any questions, any kind of feedback for Voltage, anything that you're dying to know, or even if you want to ask a question about just general Lightning Network topics, we'll be happy to answer them for you. To kind of give everyone a bit of some red meat to dig their teeth into here. What do you guys think is going to be the most important thing for the Lightning Network going forward here? Bit of a broad question, but.
Nate or Bob, you want to answer that?
So the Lightning Network I think more and more people are going to build, more and more people are going to find out how amazing it is to have instant international payments and instant settlements. And I think the younger people joining maybe big banks around the world, maybe in Central America or something, they're going to be Bitcoiners and they're going to teach everyone how to do it. And it's just going to keep growing and growing. And I think that's the trajectory we're on. And I'm really excited.
I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Right now, I think we're in developer mode right now. I mean, despite the fact that we even have El Salvador, I think they're super, super early adopters of the Lightning Network. But as this tooling comes out, most people's first Bitcoin interaction, I believe, is going to be on the Lightning Network. And the types of tooling, the different types of people, how people are getting paid, it's going to disrupt everything. And, hang on, hold on for dear life, because I think we're just at the start of something really big here.
Yeah, and I think all those are valid. And I think additionally, I think just helping operations, for people that are running nodes is going to be, super important going forward as we bring on more and more people that are from the standard Web 2 world, or maybe even not even using the web verbiage, but bringing people that are not familiar with Lightning into Lightning, creating the standards for them to feel comfortable in their building and developing is going to be super important too.
I appreciate that answer there. So I brought up perk defense to ask a question. I will ask that you keep your question short. And if I tell you to hold on, please hold on. Go ahead with your question, please.
Hi, have you guys built any monitoring infrastructure for the services at Voltage Cloud? Thank you.
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
What I mean by that is some sort of, like say, what's the QPS that's being generated against the servers, and what kind of QPS that they can handle, and integration with some sort of, like say, PagerDuty or something like that. Like if you were to build a full-fledged service, if somebody is hitting the Lightning service, like some sort of DDoS or just denial of service attack, I should like get some notification on my mobile that something is off and I should go and fix it myself. And then like I should have like some brief idea about what's like the garbage collection statistics or QPS statistics, like queries per second statistics and stuff like that. The regular metrics that we see in like the regular services at companies.
Yeah. So no, I mean, great question. Today, I guess it exists today. We do not. The nodes that we run, we add ThunderHub onto it, which is a decent, just kind of general observability into your node. But I won't say anything too specific, but I would say stay tuned. We'll definitely be able to, I think, service a lot of what you're requesting here. So we have some really, really big things planned. So I would say just stay tuned. Like I think there'll be a lot of services that will help you in your endeavors going forward.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question, and thanks for the response there. So we're kind of just in kind of a Lightning Network discussion here, just free form. So I'm just going to launch into something that I'm finding interesting, and especially because the main dude's in the room, so might as well talk about it. So Lightning address. I already mentioned that BTC Pay Server just added the support for it in their latest release. And I started by being very skeptical of it, and I'm, being beat up and being proven wrong here. And so I'm just kind of curious about everyone's opinion on Lightning address. Is it a good thing? Is it going to keep on growing? What's your guys' opinion on it here?
I'll chime in. I think it's good. I think that anything that we can do to make the user experience better, is a net good thing. I guess kind of what we were talking about earlier. So I think anything that can abstract away a lot of the pieces of the underlying Lightning protocol or whatever, I think it makes a lot of sense and is good. Like the first time I looked at Lightning, I didn't really like it because you couldn't like send to someone without them generating an invoice first. So I thought that was a little clunky. But then that got solved with like key send and all of these, there's a few different ways to do it now. So I think that it's the natural progression of the network is to develop these new things that make it easier to use the protocol. So I mean, I think it's a net good thing. I think that the more that we can do to make this easier on users is a good thing. I think that there's there's a decent amount of sprawl and like everyone's kind of doing their own thing. I'd love to see some consolidation there. But, I think that's natural and that's going to come, with time. But +1 on Lightning addresses.
Oh, I love how you hit both of those pieces because I remember key sends coming out And I got so excited because that meant that I wasn't going to have to always give someone or like generate this really long Lightning Network invoice string. And I just remember thinking I could put like a QR code of my pub key on a business card and just hand it out, and people could just send money to me like from wherever. It doesn't matter. And the thought of scanning a business card now seems ridiculous, because like now we've combined several technologies, kind of like condensing this sprawl into Lightning Address, something that is human readable and something that you could actually just memorize. Like, hey, like, yeah, here, pay me. And I'll generate an invoice for you using LNURL in the back. And this will just be a smooth experience. So huge fan of Lightning Address. So and we've added it onto Amboss, so you can bolster your node page with Lightning Address.
Yeah, it's just been pretty incredible seeing how the spec just got sort of released and rolled out on just a couple services, and how in just like a couple months time, if that, like, it's in all the major wallets, and we're seeing it in BTC Pay Server. It just goes to show you that, like, Bitcoin is like a meritocracy of ideas, and the very best ones will float to the top and get integrated in all these different projects. So I really love the spec, really love to see everyone embracing it. And I just want to say shouts to Andre for gifting it to us and making Lightning easier to use than ever.
So kind of talking about Lightning Address here, is there anything out there in the Lightning network ecosystem that y'all are kind of, similar to Lightning Address, maybe just really championing and saying, this thing is going to be the thing that's going to push XYZ to the forefront, or, maybe just a few percent, what have you. But is there anything out there that's really striking your fancy at the moment?
That's a good question. I mean, I think us as a company, we're very focused on like the infrastructure and the lower level pieces, and we really want to be kind of agnostic to that stuff, so we can let the people that are using our platform, do whatever they want to do. They can build the apps and services that they want, and just give them the tools to do it. So, as a company, we take a pretty like neutral stance on any one thing, because I think supporting everything and then figuring out, I think, ultimately the market will decide, the users will decide what is best and what they want to use. So just being able to let all innovation happen and, let it decide for itself is, I think, important for us as a company. I don't know if Nate or Bob had any ideas, like just personally, like what you like to see out there.
I want to see more Lightning enabled video game stuff. As a gamer, man, I really like what ZBD's doing, and I really want to see more of it. And I just love the idea of using Lightning to interact with other people's games, or just winning sats from playing games. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it a minute ago, but just kind of a different use case with LNURL auth. I think the whole concept of not having to use passwords to log into websites is a really underappreciated bit that comes with this right now. And a lot of people aren't using password managers right now, and obviously, companies storing user information like that is just a big honeypot. And to remove all of that burden from the companies and taking away these honeypots, as well, it's a win-win here, as well as having ease of use for the user, where the only password they really need is the one to be commanding their Lightning node. Because other than that, they're only sharing their public key. I think that's a really underappreciated thing, and something to keep your eye on.
All right. So that's pretty much all I really had here on my end. If anyone else in the audience has any more questions, if Evan or Justifer has any more questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them. But if not, we might be reaching towards the end of the show here.
Yeah, so guys, I'm curious, when is this new BTC Pay release gonna make its way onto Voltage?
We have a maintenance schedule for tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. So tomorrow morning it'll be there, Evan.
Wow, excited. Maybe I'll take my 50% off code and spin it up. Yeah, just very exciting stuff. I'm really excited about what you guys have built already. I'm excited to mess around with Flow. I'm excited to see where you guys take the company and what you guys continue to build. I definitely see your guys' vision. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what's next for Voltage. It's been such a great product, and I've had such a good experience with it. I can't recommend it enough for people who either need like a high availability node for routing or just want something really simple to spin up without having to worry about, procuring your own hardware or really making sure it's keeping that 24/7 uptime you want. So yeah, just a shout out to you guys for building a great product and helping build out the Lightning Network.
So I went ahead and I brought Andre from Zebedee up to the stage. What's going on, Andre?
Hello. I just wanted to say, Graham, Flow is awesome. We tested it out. And as a product, it's just like very simple. So props to you and the team. I did want to bring a question up. I guess the whole notion of using Lightning as a data layer, what is everyone's thoughts on that? And using it more as a P2P all-purpose data versus as a payment network.
So I think I kind of go back and forth on it. I think that like for like a data network, like it doesn't make sense. I think the whole messaging thing is like kind of okay, but like anything beyond that doesn't make sense. And that's why I think I really haven't used Impervious before, but I think that they're doing like the data transfers out of band, and they tie it into the Lightning Network, which I think is a more correct way of doing it. Where if you're streaming a video peer to peer and you're like integrating Lightning payments with it, you shouldn't put like the video bytes on like encoding it into like Lightning payments and doing like millions of Lightning payments. Like I think that stuff doesn't make sense. And those things should be handled like out of band and figure out a way to tie it into the network. So I think that there's I think in LND 014, Yost Jaeger added a PR for like messages to LND that don't require a payment. So it's basically sending just peer-to-peer messages over the Lightning Network that don't require payment. So I think that a lot of people are looking at this. I'm really interested to see kind of how it plays out, but that's just kind of my take.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, paymentless messaging work out and seeing how that's going to pan out with spam and whatnot. I sort of feel like having the messages tied to a payment sort of prevents that spam. But other than that, like generally speaking, agree with Graham. You don't want to be like encoding, media data on the Lightning Network and passing it through there. You're going to have a bad time. So yeah, I definitely think like approaches like Impervious, perhaps like setting up the initial connection and figure out where you're going to connect out of band. That could happen on LN, or maybe you're just hitting up your counterparty and saying, oh, okay, what's going on? Should we rebalance this channel? Should we open up another one? Like simple functionality for that is okay, but going much beyond that, is sort of like trying to put like the square peg into the round hole.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's just including all of these other things into the Lightning Network protocol is a little bit concerning for me, because I think the real goal that we have with the Lightning Network is to create fast, cheap, private, scalable payments worldwide. And that's a super important goal. And so that's the prize that I want to keep my eyes on. But if you're able to kind of use this network of always online servers that are already in communication, and kind of leverage all that infrastructure to have better communications, or better contacts, or sharing additional data, go for it.
So I guess I'll go ahead and share my opinion here really fast, which is to basically steal from Andreas Antonopoulos' opinion of this. I asked him like way before like any of the messaging stuff was even happening. And his basic opinion was he doesn't want the Lightning Network to turn into like the big block situation where you basically need to be like holding all this data, or transmitting all this data on the behalf of all these other people, and essentially what he said would happen would be, I'm going to stutter it, but giga onions, basically, where the onions are so large that it just DDoSes the network and makes it useless. So I'm not technical enough to know if that's correct or not, but based upon other people's answers, it seems to be.
Yeah, to me, I think this is a layer 3 solution, in the same way that we want the layer 1 to be decentralized, and we cap block sizes for a certain reason. We don't want the chain growing to such a size that people can't reasonably run nodes themselves and end up in an Ethereum situation. I think if we add too much, like you're saying, this giga onion, then the burden of running a Lightning node can become too big, and then we can run into a little bit of a centralization problem there. So to me, on the surface, this seems like a layer 3 solution or above.
How bad would it be if, let's say, this decentralized Twitter, it's called Blue Sky, imagine if they built it on top of Lightning, and all of these tweets are going back and forth on the Lightning network, and your node ends up going down because you can't handle the onions from some notorious Twitter trolls tweet thread. That would suck.
So would this be just text in your example, or would this be text and pictures, let's say?
I mean, listen, you can encode data and put into these onions however you want, really. Like there's been some pretty interesting proof of concepts, like what Impervious has done. Like if you go and you look up Anthony Roning stuff, although I think he might be muted on Twitter for a bit, showing that like he could stream like an entire audio clip of what's that guy, Frankie McDonald.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was a really good proof of concept. But if you're doing that for data much bigger than that, you're gonna have like a high rate of failure, and it's just like impractical, at least for now. But yeah, I mean, I think we really just need to focus our eyes on the prize right now. Obviously, we'd like to see the internet become further decentralized, especially after the last 4, 5, 6 years where we're seeing rampant censorship step up. But before we do that, we got to make sure that Bitcoin is the peer-to-peer world reserve currency of the future, and that everyone can transact with it without too much of overhead of getting set up. So I feel if we focus on that and we tackle that and make that a great experience for everyone, we could build more decentralized layers of the internet on top of it, and layers 3 and 4 and whatnot, or just in terms of monetizing and facilitating that, giving people financial incentive to run parts of that decentralized infrastructure. So yeah, it's just like a separation of domains and responsibilities sort of thing in my eyes.
I'm kind of in the view that if there is going to be something catastrophic that brings down Lightning, I think that it should happen as soon as possible. Because that way we can start working on something different. Like, it would suck, but it's not going to stop us. Same thing with Bitcoin, in my opinion.
So I guess maybe a follow-up question would be, is there any way to make the Lightning Network more of a data layer, but kind of protecting against spam? You know, Fiat Jaff happens to think that we're getting spammed quite a lot already, and that we should have like everything should have a cost on the Lightning Network, messages and payments, or even failed payments. What's your guys' thoughts on all that?
Pay per payment. I think that makes sense. Depending if you're trying to create an incentivized network, which is what you need, then routing nodes need to make a return on deploying capital and deploying liquidity. So there needs to be a payment, and if you're paying per, a fee per attempt, imagine sending someone a text and then it fails, and then you just paid 3 sats, right? What is that like? You're going to pay to send an email, and then it potentially fails. It's a tricky question. I'm not sure.
It sounds like Ethereum. Don't go through. That's pretty awful.
With Ethereum, with Ethereum, you just don't have enough money to send the transactions at all. So like you can't even do it. So
yeah.
but I mean, to this, yeah, like I think it's interesting, like all the the zero fee people that are like trying to push for like zero fees across the network. I mean, I'm with Andre that I think that there needs to be incentive mechanisms like in the network, for it to really function properly. So I mean, it's interesting. I think that there's a lot of economics at play that will be kind of fleshed out as the network progresses.
Roy from Breeze just posted a post right on Medium about Satoshi Superhighway, which is essentially this discussion, and he voices that essentially right now it's okay because it's in its infancy. Lightning is new. It's it's just brand new, right? It hasn't grown that much. But imagine it when people are deploying trillions of dollars towards this network. Like, these companies are going to need return. These people are going to need return. So payments won't just be free. And if you're trying to put data there, every movement of data from a tiny message to a massive 8K video, you're going to have to pay for that, right? And then you're competing with the current setup, which is the current internet, which is free, right? You pay your ISP, but it's free. That, I mean, quote unquote, depending on your bandwidth, but you understand what I mean. It's very different sort of incentive structures. Like, it's just completely different. So I'm in the field of focusing on providing what it is, which is the best payment network that exists.
Yeah, just to wrap up, I'd say prices are signals to indicate like what different economic activities are most efficient, and we have an incredible, powerful tool in being able to price things at such a granular level. Not only can we price in sats, but we could go into millisats, and if we need, we could even slice them down even further. So it would be a great misstep for us not to take advantage of that, and to not enable economic activity on like micro scales that we haven't even seen before. Like, there should be a cost for everything. Last, we are still in our infancy. We're still figuring some stuff out. But when it comes time to play, like Andre says, there needs to be returns on all that capital that's going to be deployed.
All right, so we've basically had a 2-hour rip, as the kids say there, and I think it was a pretty good one. Like, I really appreciated the energy at the end there. I wish we could keep going, but I have a day job and I can't keep going, unfortunately. So we're going to go and call it a close here. I would like to go ahead and thank everyone from the Voltage team for showing up. And letting us know about Voltage and letting us know about all that, everything that you're working on, Flow and all that. I appreciate everyone that asked questions. I appreciate Andre for jumping up here, adding some spice to the show here. I appreciate Evan and Justifer for adding some questions here that weren't on my outline. kind of keeping things fresh and moving. It's fantastic. I do want to go ahead and mention our sponsors really quick before we actually close out. So, let's mention Voltage's coupon code here. So if you actually want to try out Voltage once again, use our coupon code Lightning Friday when you go to voltage.cloud, and try out their services, see if you like it, see if you can make it work for yourself. I think it'll be worth it there for you. And another sponsor is Fold. You can go find the link in our show notes. I'm not going to keep pitching about Fold. You all know what Fold is. So Bitcoin 2022, I really want to see a better Lightning Network programming there. So that's kind of why we joined up with them, in order to kind of browbeat them into having better programming. But really, it's like, that's kind of the reason why, and I think the reason why they even saw the show, basically. So if you actually want to go to Bitcoin 2022 and see some of that Lightning Network programming, you can go to bt.c/conference and use our coupon code Lightning Junkies to get the discount. And I think actually, if you don't even use our coupon code and you use the coupon code open source, I think you get a 20% discount instead of a 10% discount that our coupon code would get. So use the one that saves you more money. Give us a tip if you want instead. That way, it's kind of cheaper for you. I would rather you guys get a cheaper price than just throwing us some money.
Yes, then Chad the difference.
Right, exactly. Sorry to Bitcoin 2022, but I like giving people the cheapest price versus ticking it on my end. Anyway, and then also Zeus Wallet and Amboss.space, both the great projects that Evan and Justifer create, run, have their hand in, whatever you want to say there. So if there's anything else you guys want to say before we close out, go ahead and do that now before I say the magical words at the end here.
Thank you all. Appreciate you all. Peace and love.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It was a lot of fun. You want to try out Flow, hit me up and I can get you some coupons. And yeah, it was fun. Thanks a lot.
Hopefully see some of you guys in Atlanta coming up, or El Salvador as well.
Yeah. For sure. Hit us up there too if you want to talk.
All right. I think that's the end of the show, y'all. I'll see you on the Lightning.